Apple has quietly made one of the most impactful iPhone software decisions in years, and many users didn't see it coming. If you've updated your iPhone to iOS 26, there's now no official way to go back. Apple has stopped signing iOS 18.6.2, effectively sealing the door on downgrades and changing how iPhone updates work forever. This isn't a temporary issue, a bug, or an accidental oversight. It's a deliberate shift in Apple's iOS strategy, and it forces iPhone users to rethink how they approach major software updates going forward. And it doesn't stop with iPhones. Apple has also ended signing for iPadOS 18.6.2, meaning iPads are affected as well. But the way this is rolled out suggests Apple is being especially aggressive with its iPhone ecosystem, signaling that smartphones are now under stricter software control than ever before. So what exactly changed? Why did Apple do this? And what does it mean for you? Let's break it down. What's actually happening behind the scenes? To understand why downgrading is no longer possible, you need to know how Apple controls iOS installations. Every iOS version must be digitally signed by Apple's servers before it can be installed. When your iPhone updates or restores software, it checks with Apple's servers to verify that the version is still approved. If Apple stops signing a version, your device simply refuses to install it, even if you have the full firmware file saved on your computer. Think of it like this: the software may exist, but Apple has revoked the permission slip. By stopping the signing of iOS 18.6.2, Apple has completely removed the technical pathway needed to downgrade. Even recovery mode, factory resets, or full device wipes won't help. Your iPhone will only install the latest signed version, which is now iOS 26. What's different this time is how complete the lock-in feels. Users on iOS 18 report that when they check for updates, the system skips smaller security updates entirely and only offers iOS 26.2. That means Apple is no longer giving users the option to stay on an older major version while still receiving security patches. This marks a fundamental change in Apple's update philosophy. Why Apple is forcing this change? From Apple's perspective, this move is all about security and control. Older iOS versions often contain known vulnerabilities that hackers, spyware developers, and even nation-state actors actively target. Allowing users to remain on older firmware increases the attack surface, not just for individuals but for the entire ecosystem. By forcing everyone onto the latest major iOS version, Apple ensures faster deployment of security fixes, a more uniform user base, fewer legacy systems to support, stronger protection against advanced threats. There's also a major operational benefit. Apple's engineers no longer need to account for users running multiple major versions of iOS. That simplifies development, testing, bug fixes, and customer support. But this approach comes with real trade-offs. Users lose flexibility. If a major update causes performance issues, breaks apps, or introduces design changes you don't like, there's no longer an escape route. Apple has effectively removed the safety net that power users and cautious upgraders relied on for years. This move signals that Apple now values ecosystem security and simplicity over user choice. Life inside iOS 26. What you're locked into. Since there's no going back, the big question becomes, is iOS 26 worth being locked into? The answer is mostly yes, but with caveats. iOS 26.1, Apple's first major update after launch, shows that the company is still listening to feedback. It introduces practical improvements like expanded real-time language translation, improved FaceTime call quality, performance refinements. Most notably, Apple responded to backlash around the liquid glass design, which many users found visually overwhelming. In iOS 26.1, Apple added controls that let users reduce or adjust glass effects, improving readability and reducing visual clutter. Users can now choose between clearer transparency or a more opaque, high-contrast look. Apple also added the option to disable the swipe-to-camera gesture on the lock screen, another frequent complaint. This shows that while Apple has taken away downgrade freedom, it's still adjusting the software based on user feedback. Your choices going forward. If you haven't upgraded yet, this may be one of the last truly meaningful decisions you'll make about an iOS update. You have two realistic options. Option 1. Stay on iOS 18 indefinitely. This preserves familiarity but comes with long-term risks. No new features, eventual app incompatibility, and growing security vulnerabilities. Option 2. Upgrade to iOS 26 and accept that it's a one-way move. You gain the latest security, features, and ecosystem support, but you give up the ability to revert if something goes wrong. For users already on iOS 26 experiencing issues, the only solutions now live within the system. Resetting system settings. Removing problematic profiles. Performing a clean install of iOS 26. Restoring from recent compatible backups. Community workarounds like SSH blobs or unofficial tools are largely blocked on modern devices and carry serious risks, including permanent device failure. For most users, they're not viable options. What this means for the future of iOS updates. Apple has officially turned major iOS updates into one-way journeys. This changes how users should approach future releases. Major updates can no longer be treated as experiments you can undo. Instead, they should be approached like major operating system upgrades on a computer, planned, researched, and backed up carefully. Before upgrading, create local backups. Wait a few days after release. Check app compatibility. Read early user feedback. The era of just try it and roll back later is over. Final thoughts. A new iPhone reality. Apple's decision to lock iPhones into iOS 26 marks a power shift in the relationship between the company and its users. Security and stability now clearly outweigh flexibility and personal control. For many users, this will be a positive change. Fewer vulnerabilities, smoother updates, and a more reliable experience. For others, it's a loss of autonomy that raises questions about device ownership in a tightly controlled ecosystem. The key takeaway is simple. iOS updates are no longer reversible. If you're upgrading, do it with confidence and with full awareness that there's no return ticket.